Let me tell you the truth that nobody told you in school, at work, or even in church. You are not broke because you're lazy. You are not poor because you're unlucky. You are not stuck because you don't have talent. You're not rich yet because your mindset hasn't caught up with your calling. See, wealth is not something you chase. It's something you attract by the person you become. But most people never become. They keep trying to fix their finances without fixing their foundation. They want $1 million life with $100 identity, and that doesn't work. Your outer world will always expose the truth of your inner world. You're not waiting on money. Money is waiting on you to rise, to think different, to move different, to expect different. And if you're not uncomfortable right now, then this message isn't for you. But if something in your soul is screaming, "I'm meant for more," then stay with me, because I'm about to walk you through the 6 real reasons you're not rich yet. And once you fix these, not only will money come, it'll come with meaning. You're not rich yet because you're fighting the wrong battle. You're swinging hard every day, but you're swinging at the wrong enemy. You're waking up early, scrolling motivational quotes, watching success videos, posting online, but none of it's translating into wealth. Why? Because you've been deceived into thinking that your fight is external. You think your problem is the economy, the government, your boss, your background, your lack of connections, or even your lack of resources. But none of those things are stopping you. The real battle is happening on the inside. It's in your mind, and until you win that battle, nothing on the outside will change. See, the enemy isn't your circumstances, it's your conditioning. You've been programmed since childhood to believe in limits. You've been taught to survive, not to thrive. You've been taught to obey, not to build. So every time you get close to taking control of your future, something in your mind pulls you back. It whispers, "Who do you think you are?" It reminds you of the last failure. It tells you that you don't belong in rooms of wealth. That internal voice is not your intuition, it's your enemy. And you keep feeding it with fear, with hesitation, with your daily habits. The reason you're not rich is because you've been trained to fight visible enemies, while the invisible one, your own thoughts, keeps running free. You work on your business, but not your belief. You work on your pitch, but not your posture. You talk about mindset, but still act like someone who doubts everything they're building. Until you shift the battle inward, wealth will avoid you, because wealth responds to authority, not anxiety. It responds to vision, not confusion. It's not about working harder. It's about working from a place of clarity, faith, and command. You've also confused motion with progress. You've got movement, but no mastery. You're busy, but not building. You're watching others succeed and thinking they got lucky. No, they didn't get lucky. They got focused. They fought the right battle. They silenced the inner critic and built the inner confidence. They showed up as if they were already wealthy, not arrogant, but aligned. Meanwhile, you keep fighting distractions, bad habits, fear of judgment, fear of failure, and worst of all, you keep negotiating with your excuses. That's why you're not rich yet. You can't win a spiritual and psychological battle with physical effort alone. You can't grind your way out of insecurity. You can't hustle your way out of fear. You must confront the lies. You must replace them with truth. You must sit down with yourself and ask, what do I really believe about wealth? About myself, about my worth? Because if deep down you believe you're not worthy, you'll sabotage every opportunity that comes your way. If you think wealth is evil, you'll reject the very thing you say you want. If you think rich people are bad, you'll unconsciously avoid becoming one of them. That's the real war. And until you win that war, no coach, no course, no job, no strategy can save you. Because every external system you try will break under the weight of your internal insecurity. The foundation must be rebuilt. That's why you can study all day and still feel stuck. That's why you can have talent and still be broke. That's why you can be consistent and still see no results, because you're consistent in fear, not faith. And fear builds nothing but regret. You're not rich yet because you're shadow boxing. You're swinging at things that don't even matter while the real enemy, your identity, your thoughts, your emotions, keeps you stuck on the same level. The moment you stop fighting everything outside and start transforming everything inside, you'll feel something shift. You'll walk differently, you'll speak with power, you'll execute without delay. That's when doors open, that's when opportunities stick. That's when wealth starts to respond, because now you're no longer reacting, you're ruling, you're not surviving, you're building, you're not hoping, you're commanding. That's the real reason you're not rich yet, and that's exactly where your breakthrough begins. You think wealth is just about money, and that's the root of your delay. You believe that if you had more money, everything would change. If you had more dollars, more zeros in your bank account, more cash in hand, your problems would disappear. But money is not wealth. That belief is why wealth keeps running from you, because wealth isn't something you chase. It's something you become. And as long as you keep mistaking paper for power, you'll never step into true prosperity. Money is a shadow. It follows value. It's a symbol, a receipt, proof that someone believes what you brought to the table had worth. It's the byproduct of usefulness, not the source of success. So when you obsess over money, but ignore growth, wisdom, service, and contribution, you disconnect yourself from what actually creates wealth. You pray for money, but you don't pray for mastery. You talk about riches, but you don't study how value works. You chase what can be counted, but neglect what really counts. Wealth is capacity. It's not just about what you earn. It's about what you can handle. If you were given $1 million today without the mental, emotional, and spiritual infrastructure to manage it, that money would crush you. It wouldn't bless you. It would bury you. That's why so many people win the lottery and lose everything, because they got the money but never became the person. They had riches without identity, and money in the hands of someone without discipline or direction is just fuel for destruction. You say you want wealth, but your daily actions reveal you're really just chasing relief. You want money because you think it will make you feel secure, comfortable, important. But wealth doesn't grow where insecurity lives. Wealth is attracted to responsibility, not desperation. And the person who becomes wealthy is the person who learns to add value, solve problems, and create systems consistently without being told, and even when they don't feel like it. That's why wealth is so rare, because discipline is rare, because long-term thinking is rare, because patience is rare. You want wealth without becoming valuable. You want to be paid without producing. You want increase without investment, but it doesn't work like that. You can't skip the becoming and still expect the blessing. You can't walk in lack all week and expect abundance to meet you at the weekend. Money responds to value. Value comes from growth. And growth comes from pain, from pressure, from process. That's what separates wealthy people from the rest. They've learned how to stay in the process long enough to become the person who attracts wealth naturally. Wealth is spiritual before it's material. It starts with a belief, grows through behavior, and manifests through impact. But if your belief is broken, if you think you're not worthy, if you think money is evil, if you think success is selfish, you'll repel the very thing you claim to want. You'll make decisions rooted in fear, not faith. You'll hide your gifts. You'll settle for less. And wealth doesn't answer to fear. It answers to clarity. It answers to vision. It answers to the one who shows up, sows faithfully, and builds something that blesses others. You don't need more money. You need more meaning, more intention, more structure, more excellence. You need to understand that wealth is not something you get. It's something you give asterisk. You give focus, you give service, you give value, and money is simply what comes back as proof that what you gave mattered. Until you stop thinking of wealth as just cash and start thinking of it as capacity, character, contribution, and command, you'll stay in the loop of hustle, frustration, and lack. But when you shift your definition, your destiny shifts too. Because now, you're not just chasing money, you're becoming wealth, and wealth always flows to who you become. You're not rich yet because you're mentally employed even if you're physically free. You might have quit your job, left the system, or started calling yourself an entrepreneur. But your mind is still stuck in the paycheck paradigm. You're still thinking like a worker, acting like a follower, waiting like a beggar, when you should be building like a king. Freedom isn't a title, it's a mentality, and until your thoughts catch up with your actions, you'll still function like an employee, even if you own your time. See, it's not just about leaving a job. It's about leaving the mindset that says, I only get paid when someone tells me I'm worth something. You've been programmed to believe that your income is based on your hours, not your impact. That belief is poison to wealth. It kills creativity. It shrinks potential. It turns a creator into a copier, a leader into a laborer, a visionary into a victim. You don't get rich by counting hours. You get rich by creating transformation, by solving bigger problems. By generating results that cannot be ignored. The employee mindset is built on survival. It says, I just need enough to make it to Friday. It's rooted in fear. Fear of failing, fear of going without, fear of not being enough. So what do? You settle. You stay small. You wait for someone to give you a yes instead of standing up and claiming your opportunity. You wait to be noticed rather than becoming too valuable to be overlooked. That's what the employed mind does. It obeys systems that were never designed to set you free, and it calls that slavery security. But the wealthy think differently. They don't wait to be paid. They decide to produce. They understand that income follows value, not time. They don't ask, how much will I make? They ask, how much can I give? How many people can I serve? How can I multiply what's in my hand? That's the mindset that produces wealth. Because it's not about the job. It's about the pattern. It's about breaking the system that taught you your worth is tied to effort alone. You're stuck because you still need someone to validate your dream. You're still hesitating to launch your course, your product, your message because no one gave you permission. But wealth doesn't wait for permission. It responds to vision. You don't need a degree to dominate. You need discipline, direction, and a decision to break out of the mental trap that says, someone else must decide if I deserve to win. That's why you're not building like you should. That's why your business is crawling instead of flying. You've got the shell of an entrepreneur with the soul of an employee. You've got the Instagram bio, but you still operate with a 9-to-5 belief system. You still panic when there's no guarantee. You still chase approval instead of authority. And that's why wealth hasn't stuck to you. Because wealth requires responsibility, not just ambition. It flows to those who lead, not those who wait. You need to rewire your brain to think in terms of ownership, not obedience. Ownership says, if it is to be, it's up to me. Obedience says, tell me what to do, and I'll do just enough to survive. If you want to be rich, you need to fire the employee inside your mind. You need to promote the builder, the creator, the visionary within. You need to stop clocking in for the old identity and start showing up for the new one. Because until you do, you'll keep hustling like a worker instead of commanding like a leader. You'll never get rich thinking like someone who needs to be managed. You get rich when you manage yourself, your thoughts, your energy, your time, your vision. When you break out of the prison of needing a system to tell you what to do, then you can create systems that pay you forever. That's freedom, and that's when wealth begins to chase you. You don't have a wealth command system. And that's exactly why wealth isn't responding to you. You've been taught to wish, to hope, to grind, but you haven't been trained to command. You haven't been equipped to create a structure, a blueprint, a repeatable system that attracts, multiplies, and manages money. So, instead of building wealth, you're constantly chasing it. Instead of commanding increase, you're reacting to lack. And as long as you live in reaction, wealth will always feel out of reach. Wealth doesn't come to people who work hard. It comes to people who work hard in alignment with a proven system. The world is full of broke people who hustle. The streets are packed with people grinding day and night but never growing. Because effort without strategy is just noise. Energy without order is just chaos. And God is a God of order. That means if your life is out of order, your money will be too. If your schedule is random, your results will be random. If your value isn't systemized, your income will always be inconsistent. You've got ideas but no structure. You've got motivation but no mechanism. You've got a message but no method. That's the missing link. And without it, you keep working harder, thinking that effort will force the breakthrough. But wealth doesn't respond to pressure. It responds to precision. You need a wealth command system. A way to bring money into your life on purpose, consistently, without confusion. A system that converts your gifts into value and your value into revenue. Most people pray for overflow, but they haven't built the container for it. They ask for more, but they haven't structured what they already have. They want new money, but they haven't mastered the money they're mismanaging now. It's not that you're unworthy. It's not that you're unlucky. It's that you're undisciplined in your systems. You sell sometimes, you promote occasionally, you build inconsistently, and that's why you receive randomly. Let me be clear, money doesn't respond to motivation. It responds to management, and if you can't manage a small stream, you'll drown in the flood. Your wealth command system must include your time, your priorities, your products, your content, your pricing, your positioning, your follow-up, your scaling strategy. If that sounds overwhelming, it's only because you've never been taught to think like a commander. You've been trained to obey, not to orchestrate. But wealth isn't found in obedience to another man's system. It's found in the creation of your own. You need a system that turns your knowledge into content, a system that turns content into leads, leads into customers, customers into community, community into movement, movement into money. That doesn't happen by accident. It happens by design, and design requires discipline. The same way a house needs a blueprint before it's built. Your income needs a strategy before it's multiplied. Stop being afraid of systems. Stop thinking systems are for corporations and CEO. If you want to be rich, you must think in systems. Systems save you time. Systems save your mind. Systems set you free. If you don't build one, you'll end up working for someone who did. You keep saying you want generational wealth. But generation requires duplication, and duplication only happens through systems. If it can't be repeated, it can't be passed down. If it can't run without you, it's not wealth. It's slavery with a new name. So, here's the truth. You'll never experience financial freedom without a financial system. You'll never attract consistent abundance without consistent strategy. You don't need more followers, you need more structure. You don't need another idea, you need implementation. The wealth you're praying for is waiting for the system you refuse to build. When you finally take dominion over your value and wrap it in a system that works while you sleep, that's when money starts showing up with your name on it. That's when you stop chasing and start commanding. You haven't aligned your actions with your assignment, and that's why abundance avoids you. You're doing a lot, but you're not doing what you were divinely designed to do. You're busy, but not productive. You're active, but not accurate. You're building things that look successful on the outside, but on the inside, you're frustrated, tired, and questioning if it's even worth it. That's the cost of working out of alignment. That's what happens when your gift is disconnected from your grind. Every person on this earth was sent with an assignment. That assignment is not just spiritual, it's strategic. It's not just about purpose, it's about placement. Where are you placed? Who are you called to serve? What problem are you uniquely built to solve? The moment you step into alignment with that, provision is automatic. Resources find you, people are drawn to you, opportunities multiply. But when you operate outside of it, you have to fight for every dollar. You struggle to stay consistent. You burn out chasing what was never yours to begin with. The reason you're not rich yet isn't always because you're lazy, it's because you're misplaced. You've been copying someone else's calling. You've been chasing trends, not truth. You saw somebody else win with that business model, that brand, that niche, and you tried to duplicate it. But you didn't carry the same grace. You didn't carry the same authority. That wasn't your lane. And anytime you build outside your assignment, you also build outside your anointing. And when there's no anointing, there's no ease. Just stress. Just confusion. Just friction. Wealth is attracted to authenticity. Money flows where purpose grows. If you're not clear on your assignment, you'll work 10 times harder for half the results. And that's where many people leave overworked and underpaid, because they're trying to succeed in a space they were never sent to. You keep wondering why your audience doesn't respond, why your product doesn't move, why your content doesn't convert. It's not always about skill, it's about alignment. The right message to the wrong people will still fall flat. The right product at the wrong time won't produce fruit. But when timing, talent, and territory align, abundance is automatic. You must know who you are. You must know what you've been sent to do, not what's popular, not what sells fast, not what everybody else is doing. What are you graced for? What keeps you up at night? What problem do you see that others ignore? That's a clue to your assignment, and your assignment is the magnet for your abundance. That's how you attract without begging. That's how you prosper without pretending. That's how you scale without selling your soul. Most people live paycheck to paycheck not because of lack, but because of misalignment. They've taken on jobs, businesses, even clients that are out of sync with their divine wiring. So every day feels like warfare. Every decision feels heavy. Every launch feels forced. But when you get in alignment, things move with grace. Not because it's easy, but because it's ordered. There's peace. There's progress. There's purpose. And listen closely. Alignment doesn't mean perfection. It doesn't mean you won't face challenges. But it does mean you'll be empowered to push through them because you know you're in the right place. It means your results will have more impact because you're doing what you were built to do. The market knows when someone is authentic. Customers feel when you're in your element. When you operate in your assignment, you don't have to convince people. You convict them. That's the shift from trying to make money to stepping into the place where money meets you, from chasing income to creating impact that invites income. When you align with your assignment, money becomes the byproduct of obedience. And until you do that, you'll always wonder why your bank account doesn't match your effort. Because effort outside of assignment will always exhaust you, but effort inside your assignment will elevate you. That's the truth. You don't truly believe you deserve to be rich. That's the final barrier. It's not your strategy. It's not your lack of resources. It's not even your background. It's your internal thermostat for wealth. You've been programmed to survive, not to thrive. Raised to settle, not to soar. And every time money starts flowing in, your subconscious kicks in and finds a way to sabotage it, because deep down you don't believe increase belongs to you. You can't receive what you subconsciously reject. You can grind all day, but if your belief system is rooted in scarcity, struggle will be your cycle. You'll chase success, but never catch it. You'll touch increase, but won't be able to hold it. Why? Because your identity isn't aligned with the outcome. You're trying to create millionaire results with a minimum wage mindset. And the law is clear: as a man thinks in his heart, so is he. Not what you post, not what you speak, but what you truly believe when no one's watching. Most people are stuck, not because they're not capable, but because they're carrying the wrong financial identity. They see money as a reward, not a responsibility. They feel guilt when they charge their worth. They shrink in rooms where they should stand tall. They apologize for wanting more, and that internal hesitation becomes external limitation. If you don't believe you're worthy of wealth, you'll never build it. You'll reject it, you'll lose it, you'll give it away too quickly, or you'll never pursue it seriously in the first place. Here's the truth most people don't want to face. Wealth is more spiritual than financial. It starts on the inside. Your bank account is just a mirror of your belief system. You keep asking for breakthrough, but haven't upgraded your belief. You keep watching successful people, but still feel like they're different. You've got a dream, but you carry doubt. You think God might bless others, but you wonder if He'll ever bless you like that. That's the inner battle keeping you broke, not lack of opportunity, but lack of identity. You need to rewire your worth. You need to demolish the old lies that say rich people are greedy. Money changes people. Humble people don't care about wealth. Or being rich and being spiritual can't coexist. Who told you that? Because none of that is in alignment with truth. Money is neutral. It's a magnifier, not a manipulator. It doesn't change who you are. It reveals who you already were. And if your heart is right, your hands should be full. The more you have, the more you can give. The more you earn, the more impact you can create. But until you believe you're called to abundance, you'll always flirt with success, but never marry it. That's why some of you keep starting and stopping. You keep launching, but never scaling. Because deep down, you're afraid of what life looks like on the other side of success. You fear the pressure. You fear the judgment. You fear losing the people who liked the broke version of you. But listen, the version of you that's afraid of being rich must die so the version of you that's called to lead can rise. You must bury the old blueprint. You must break the mental ceiling. You are not cursed. You are not forgotten. You are not too late, but you must become the person who can steward what you're asking for. You must rise in belief before you rise in balance. You must see yourself as chosen, favored, and worthy not because of what you've done, but because of who you are. When that belief becomes unshakable, wealth will find you, not because you're chasing it, but because you finally stopped running from it. And when you stand fully in your worth, you won't just touch wealth. You'll live in it, you'll multiply it. And you'll leave a legacy that silences every lie that tried to keep you small.